I welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting for October 2025. Pursuant to Council's Code of Meeting Practice Policy, 2 public forum sessions will be held during the council meeting. 1 public forum session will be held following the acknowledgement of Broken Hills mining history to hear submissions from the public on matters listed for consideration at this meeting, and also hear submissions on general matters. And the other public forum session will be held prior to the confidential matters and will consider submissions from the public on matters considered by council at this meeting only. Councils undertook an oath or affirmation at the beginning of their term of office and declared to undertake the duties of the office of council in the best interest of the people of the Broken Hill local government area and the city of Broken Hill, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment. This council meeting is being live streamed via YouTube, recorded and published via council's website. To those present in the gallery today by attending or participating in this public meeting or consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published, the Mayor and/or General Manager have the authority to pause or terminate the stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory or otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful commentary. Calls for apologies. Everyone is here. So we have Neil. We have a leave of absence application for Deputy Mayor Hickey is currently in Canberra on council business. Do we have a mover to accept the leave of absence application? Move Councillor Chandler, second Councillor Gillett. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Call on Councillor Boland for the prayer.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and the true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Councillor Edgecombe.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet today, the land of the Willakali people, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you. Councillor Allgate? No. Councillor Gillett? I did say you, but I didn't see you had it there. Sorry, Councillor Allgate. You go.
We take time to reflect, remember and honour the over 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919-1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and our future.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. The first public forum session of 15 minutes will consider submissions from the public regarding matters listed for consideration at this meeting and also general matters. The public have been advised through notices on council's website to register by 4 p.m. today if they wish to address council during the public forum session. Members of the public who have registered to address council will be given preference, and then if time permits, anyone else present in the public gallery may address council. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes to address council. We did not receive any registrations. We have 1 member in the public. Would you like to speak? No. Thank you. Minutes for confirmation for 24th of September. Do we have a mover for that? Move Councillor Allgate, seconded Councillor Chandler. Councillor Allgate, any comments on the minutes?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Disclosures of interest. Do any councillors have any disclosures of interest? Nil disclosures of interest. Have a verbal mayoral minute. State government funding towards airport runway project. That letters of appreciation be sent to the Premier, the Honourable Chris Minns, Minister for Western New South Wales, the Honourable Tara Moriarty, MLC, Federal Minister for Emergency Management and Federal Minister for Regional Development, Local Government and Territories, the Honourable Christy McBain, Federal Member Mr Jamie Chapey, MP, and Local Member Roy Butler, MP, thanking them for the support and council receiving $5 million grant from the state government, which will be used towards the Broken Hill Regional Airport upgrade and runway and taxiway Alpha project. The council continues to advocate to the federal government to secure federal funding towards this project. We have a seconder for that. Seconded Councillor Page. Look, it was a really good effort from all councillors, all council staff and the community in general. This grant from the government of state government of $5 million will undoubtedly result in the federal government also contributing. That contribution will ensure that our Royal Flying Doctors continue to be an integral part of the Broken Hill community. It will also allow for potential for chartered flights or other air services with bigger aircraft. So we need to make sure that the people that were involved in this do get letters of appreciation, because this is, we ended up with the highest amount of money you could get, which was the $5 million. So it's a great effort from those people that are named to have correspondence sent. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Second mayoral minute, the council writes to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Anthony Albanese MP, the Deputy Prime Minister and Federal Minister for Defence, the Honourable Richard Marles MP, Federal Member, Mr Jamie Chafee MP and local member Mr Roy Butler, requesting consideration for the nuclear submarine being acquired by Australian Defence Force as part of the AUKUS deal be named after the city of Broken Hill. Given the Australians Navy fleet have named after iconic Australian cities with historic significance, and Broken Hill is the iconic city which was declared as Australia's first national heritage city in 2015. The heritage listing was bestowed on the city due to its significant contribution to mining research and inventions, industrial relations and unionism. Its heritage listed buildings and its strong community spirit and resilience. Broken Hill also contributed significant to the wealth of Australia through mining royalties, and it is for these reasons that council was requesting consideration for one of the new Australian Defence Force Navy fleet to be named after the city of Broken Hill. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded, Councillor Aldgate. This was brought to my attention by a fellow who works as a locum dentist in Broken Hill, Andrew Parsons, who was a Broken Hill person or born in Broken Hill. He also worked with the Navy or worked on one of the ships with the Navy. He thinks that it would be an honour, and I certainly think it would be an honour as well. It would be great publicity for the city, but it also would be an acknowledgement of what we've contributed over both World War I and World War II, where the wealth of Broken Hill virtually kept the economy of Australia going during World War I, and a lot of Australia's gold was stored here as a safety measure. So open it to the floor. Anyone else want to speak? Councillor Page.
Yes, Mr Mayor, all your comments are very valid. And as far as the financial situation, Broken Hill has put this nation in, and we're still putting the money in the till now for this country to spend the money like they spend it. So we're still making a huge effort to make sure this nation is financially viable.
Thank you, Councillor Page. Any other comments? Councillor Aldgate.
I agree with Councillor Page's, points and your own, Mr Mayor, but I'd just like to add that during the Second World War, the local Technical College Annex played not an insignificant role in the munitions production area. That place was set up with lots of female employees, mainly female employees, processing ammunition shells and projectiles and whatever. That can't be forgotten. And like everybody else has said, we've contributed in terms of the economic aspect of Australia right from the word go in both world wars and in the Korean War and otherwise. And it's an appropriate time that the council, not so much the council, but the community of Broken Hill and the name of a submarine by name Broken Hill into perpetuity is a real way to acknowledge what we've done over a period of years.
Couldn't agree more. Councillor Turley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And perhaps in writing this letter, we could also remind the Special Forces that in fact Broken Hill still has one of the most isolated Sea Scouts association. We had lobbied before to have I'm not sure if it's a warship, but a ship named after Broken Hill just before COVID. So I'm absolutely supportive of this. I think the reality about having a Sea Scout in Broken Hill really does put a smile on people's face. We have so much history. We have so much history, and as Councillor Allgate said, in our pre-war time and in wartime. But certainly currently we still have people who are active in the forces that represent Broken Hill so well.
Thank you, councillor Turley. We can certainly add Sea Scouts in there. People that have been to the last few Anzac services. There have been a number of Navy people that are from Broken Hill that have been guest speakers. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. And the final one, that council writes the New South Wales Government Minister for Sports, the Honourable Stephen Camper, and Minister for Gaming and Racing, the Honourable David Harris MP, in strong opposition to the closure of the greyhound racing in Broken Hill, as contrary to Greyhound Racing New South Wales reasons for closure of greyhound racing tracks across the state being for financial sustainability and operations efficiency reasons. Broken Hill Greyhound Racing Tab race on Sunday nights is enjoying year-on-year growth since becoming a tab track, and locally we have achieved an increase in the number of races held this year. On last year's figures, the club injected approximately 275,000 into the local economy directly, and trainers would also spend approximately 160,000 locally per year. The club also conducts fundraiser events, financially assistant local charities, such as the Broken Hill Breast Cancer Support Group, Broken Hill RSL, and the Broken Hill Lions Club. Along with the profitability of our local Greyhound Racing Club operations, the club employs 22 casual staff who are mostly semi-retired, retired or part-time pensioners, and all of whom will now be looking for other means of employment to assist them in today's cost of living crisis. The tyranny of distance in the far west of New South Wales, region of New South Wales, should also be a factor in favour of keeping the local track open, as many local greyhound trainers would not travel long distance to race anywhere. We have a seconder for that. Seconded, councillor Turley. Look, this is an important one. As we all know, it was only a meeting or so ago that council actually voted to relinquish control of the Newmarket Raceway because they were doing such a good job with plans to expand there significantly. The greyhounds is a part of the Broken Hill fabric. The reality is the closest greyhounds, New South Wales greyhounds, will be in Dubbo. So 700 kilometres to go to a greyhound meet. It's also well attended by people who go there to watch. It's a social event, and probably gets more people at their race meetings than they would in other places like Sydney. So it's important that we do all we can to make sure that this does continue, and I'm sure if as a community we get behind this, we'll be able to make sure that at least our greyhound track is preserved and our race meetings are preserved. Do we have any other speakers? Councillor Turley?
Perhaps, Mr Mayor, can you just give, because we didn't have a report with this, so they've been instructed that they are definitely closing?
So it was just a news item today, so they've only just all been informed that New South Wales Racing has decided to close around 15 odd tracks around the state to make it more financially viable. A lot of those people that are involved in greyhound racing found out today via the news.
So I'm happy to speak to this, and it's very disappointing news. And for this, I would say that as people may or may not be aware, that there are very few tab events for greyhound racing. Broken Hill holds one of them and certainly has a long season. It is a family sort of very local family groups that have been participating in greyhounds. I would say from a lot of them, it's intergenerational. but those that support it have very much looked after their animals. They are very good gatekeepers about the protection of their animals, and I know that Labor itself had strong opinions of keeping greyhound racing going in the state. So you might want to also include writing to the Premier of New South Wales to make sure that we recognise their great fight to keep greyhound racing going across the state and in the past, and that they would look kindly on isolated areas like Broken Hill that can't travel to Cessnock or Maitland for other races. By the way, I haven't been to a greyhound race for years, but doesn't mean I don't watch them, but haven't been able to travel. So this would add great distance to those local families that participate, and hopefully we can help lobby to reconsider this.
For sure. Any other speakers?
Yeah.
Councillor Bolt?
No, thank you, Mayor
Councillor
Kennedy.
Holgate.
Again, it seems to be a very Sydney-centric decision. We've lost our harness racing due to overzealous policy coming out of Sydney, and it's obviously the same with the greyhounds as well. I'm sure they don't understand in the big smoke that it is certainly a family event out here, and it is part of our nighttime economy. So I'm not sure if the nighttime minister, the Honourable John Graham, is on the list, but he may be one as well because he's been a big promoter of the nighttime economy. And let's be honest, those meetings that are held in the afternoon or early evening are certainly contributing to that economy. And we remember back in, I think, 2015-16, when they tried to ban it, there was an uproar across the state, but obviously they're just trying to pick at it club by club currently.
Councillor Holgate?
I think it's all been said, but I'd just like to comment that back when I was only a kid, I used to go to the dog track with mum and dad. My father had a greyhound down at the what's now the Norm Fox Oval. And it was extremely popular back in the 50s and early 60s. And but now it's even more popular. In this last 12 months, they have grown their attendance figures and in spectators and their fields enormously. So whilst we're in the peak season of greyhound racing and improving all the time, they turn around with this narrow-minded supposedly do-gooders, and as the mayor said, 22 people displaced, part-time people displaced. Not only is it a lively, or an extra livelihood for them, but it's they're committed to greyhound racing, totally committed. I think the letter that should be sent to all and sundry, and if the worst comes to worst, I think the mayor or a delegation of the council should go and meet with the people that making these ridiculous decisions that really don't apply out here, shouldn't apply out here.
Thank you, Councillor Holgate. I'll just add to it, if the seconder is, so we'll add the send off to the Premier and the local member, and also the Minister for Nighttime Entertainment, John Graham. But I think we also send a invitation to New South Wales Racing, greyhound racing to come out here and actually have a look at what is provided out here. So if the seconder is happy to continue to second that. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We have a notice of motion. Item number 11 is a note of motion of appointment of committees and working groups. Councillor Edgecombe?
Yes, thank you. I put this forward because I have a keen interest in the working groups and committees that I've put forward here. Yeah, I'm very excited to get involved, and I'd like to hear everyone else's thoughts on the different committees I'm interested in, whether it be youth, volunteering. I put Memorial Oval because I was interested in learning about the 355 committees. I'm happy with whatever oval, if there's no full complement on whatever oval. Project Steering Committee. I think it's important that councillors of all experiences get to learn and grow in their roles, and I'd really like to learn. And the Art Gallery Advisory, I just have a keen interest in art and the importance of that in our city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So what we'll start with, rather than change constitutions, we'll just go through and see if we can move to have someone that are on these meeting committees if they'd like to change. Broken Hill City.
Of order, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
you need a seconder. for that.
Just because if you do get a seconder, it'll probably be voted on and be rejected. If we just go through the first process, and then if councillor Edgecombe would like to adjust his motion, we then can, because our goal is to try and get you on these committees. So we'll work through it, and then
Thank you, Mr.
we'll
Mayor.
adjust. You can then adjust your notice of motion to incorporate that. That way you'll be getting at least some way of the way through.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So the Broken Hill, we'll start with the Broken Hill City Art Gallery. It's the first one meeting. Could the members of that committee put up their hand? So would any of those councillors, this doesn't mean that we can't change the constitution at another time. We'll just go through this process first, and then we'll, so councillor Chandler and Gillett, and either of you willing to step aside for that one? So we'll put that one on hold, councillor Edgecombe. The project steering group for project consultative committee, which councillors are on that? Put up your hand. I think you're on that one, aren't you, councillor Chandler? So would you be happy to step aside on that one? So we'll put you down on that one. So we'll adjust your notice of motion so that then we can get a seconder, and it can be Memorial Oval Community Committee. That's yours, councillor Bowen.
It certainly is, Mr. Mayor, and I've got enough on my plate, so I can, I'll step aside so councillor Edgecombe can get that experience. I've got a barrier liquor record that's crying out for a meeting, so I've got plenty to keep myself amused.
Yeah. So with that one, we'll have to appoint a chairman, and we'll let the committee appoint that. You probably don't want to chuck you in the deep end there, councillor Edgecombe. Youth Advisory Committee, could they put up the hand? Who's on that? Only councillor Chandler. You happy to step aside on that?
I'm
one?
happy to step aside.
Oh, you're happy to
Yep,
step,
yep.
step
Councillor
aside?
Chandler's been asked already.
All right, so we'll change that over. Volunteer working group. I think, is there a shortage on that one? Or we're fully. There's a shortage on that, so we can put you straight on that one, councillor Edgecombe.
Thank you.
So I'll move these four, and then we'll do a second motion on the Broken Hill Art Gallery, whether to change the constitution. So at the moment, you're moving your notice of motion with the project steering group for the project consultative committee, the Memorial Oval Community Committee, Youth Advisory Committee, and Volunteer Working Group Committee, with those councillors that said they'd change their name as part of your motion.
Yeah,
Happy to move
absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
Seconder for that, councillor Turley. Any debate on that? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So you're now on those four. So the next motion, if you'd like to move it, is to move. I don't think this will get up because we have changed the constitution a number of times. But if you'd like to move that the constitution of the Broken Hill City Art Gallery Advisory Committee to be expanded to 4 councillors, if you'd like to move that.
Happy to move that. Thank you.
Seconder for that. Seconded councillor Turley. Would you like to speak to that, councillor Edgecombe?
Oh, no, just thank you. I'm happy to have the opportunity if the majority of the council agree with that.
Speakers against? I just briefly speak against it just because it is 3 councillors is a heavy part of that committee. So it's a big percentage of the actual members of the Art Gallery Committee at some stage, and in 12 months or next September, put your hand up again and we might have the numbers. But I would speak against it simply for that 4 councillors on a committee, it starts to look more like a council committee as opposed to a community 355 Advisory Committee. Councillor Turley?
I'm happy to speak for it and say that this year, I'm just trying to think of the date, we actually we made an amendment to the committee to increase the membership for the amount of community members, and we made a significant adaptation for that. There has been at times 4 councillors on the Art Gallery Committee. It just brings greater diversity. I think for Councillor Edgecombe, who is a little bit younger than me, will bring a different perspective to the debate as well. And he's an active person who participates in events at the Art Gallery previously to being a councillor. So I think although he's a traditionalist in art, I think he would bring a lot to the gallery committee, especially with his experience on St. John's State Council. He understands constitutions and responsibilities. So I feel that it would be a great benefit to for him and for the other members of the Art Gallery Committee.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
I'll speak against it, Mr. Chair. That particular committee is, the composition of that committee has been changed many times over the last few years. And I think in principle, it's wrong. Constitutions are drawn up, you know, with the idea of what the Constitution represents is what should be represented in terms of the committee format. And we've departed from that, I suppose for good reasons on odd occasions, but there should be a limit to how many times you review and change constitutions. And I think this is one particular constitution that has been changed too many times already, and it serves the community as it is now with the councillors that are on it. I don't see that one extra, although it would give Councillor Edgecombe experience. There's no doubt about that, and I don't decry from him wanting to do that. But I don't think changing constitutions for that reason is a good idea.
Usually the change of constitution happens at the September as well, as we get nominations, as opposed to changing during the year. No, but that's what I'm saying. So if we start changing it every time something else happens during the year, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Changing constitutions regularly is not a good thing. Usually it happens at the September meetings.
Those occasions, some councillors, move off and others take their place.
Yeah.
And that's the time when it should happen.
Yeah. All those in, Councillor Turley?
I was just going to clarify, to be fair to Councillor Edgecombe, he wasn't here at the,
No, that's
he was here at that meeting, but it was his first meeting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, and I think the mayor invited him to resubmit.
most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. All those in favour? Councillor Page, Councillor Turley, Councillor Edgecombe. All those against? Councillor Boland, Councillor Allgate, Councillor Jewett, Councillor Chandler, Councillor Gillett, and myself against. Declare the motion lost. Notice of rescission nil. Reports from delegates nil. Infrastructure Committee, item number 1 is adoption of the draft local transport forum terms of reference, which incorporates the 2025 Transport for New South Wales authorisation and delegations to council. We have a mover for that.
Move the
Moved Councillor
recommendation.
Allgate, seconded Councillor Jewett. Councillor Allgate.
As I've said before, this gives the council a little bit more delegated authority, where the council can make, the committee, the forum can make decisions without so much as continually referring to Transport New South Wales, because certain powers have been delegated to the council. And it really gives the council a lot more flexibility not the council, gives the forum, the transport forum, the local transport forum, a lot more flexibility in the way it approaches local issues, local traffic issues and transport issues. And I think it's a good thing all around. And a classic is something we spoke about at recent meeting with the police in terms of Rackhouse Street and the signal lights, the traffic lights in front of the Burkewood School. That up until now has been a Transport New South Wales responsibility, but the council can now get in and do something that, based on the advice of the forum, and perhaps something can be done positive without removing that problem tree that seems to be cropping up all the time. So, you know, it's a transfer of or delegation of powers. The powers won't be abused. The Transport Forum will still rely on advice from Transport New South Wales representatives, but at the end of the day, the council itself can act on advice of the forum or not act on it.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2 is the minutes of the local traffic committee meeting held on Tuesday, the 16th of September. Do we have a mover? Councillor Allgate, move. Seconded.
Move that.
Seconded. Councillor Jewett. Councillor Allgate.
The same old story, Mr. Chair. The ongoing parking issues are the major problem that is dealt with by the now will be yet the new forum. There are big problems generally across town with parking, but the people that run rideshare businesses, they're asking for parking spaces to be made available on the basis that they feel that taxi ranks are not being used the way they ought to be. And so some of those taxi ranks can be looked at, and that's undergoing inspection and talks with the taxi company now. So things like in recent times, there's been the United Hub, the old United Church in Oxide Street, just across the road from the Mulga. There's been parking issues there that have stopped their vehicles from getting in and out of the exits. So now they've been given permission, or they've been advised that they can. The council would paint crossed lines there for no parking, if the hub pay for the work. So that probably get underway. The committee also discussed, or it was the committee then also discussed the gateway signs. Everybody on the committee is overjoyed at having to make a decision of approval that all of those signs, and I think the community would be great, would be happy when they see them. So of all the issues that have been discussed, the majority of traffic, but the biggest issue still remains the Rackhouse Street traffic lights. And it seems that earlier warnings of the traffic light and tree trimming and a few other, maintenance issues might resolve the problem whatsoever. But you can't, the police seem to have trouble. People driving, looking at their phones. There have been several charges or infringements notices issued as a result of that in that area. That's just the habits of people, and I don't know how you change that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Corporate and Community Development Committee, item number 1 is Isolated Children Parents Association, New South Wales sponsorship. Councillor Boland moves, seconded.
Item.
What are you moving? Councillor Boland?
Move that way with option C for recommendation 2. Smith.
Second that.
Seconded, councillor Allgate. Councillor Boland, like to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This came through the committee that I chair, and I went through it, and it's definitely going to simulate the Broken Hill economy and fits in with the council's policy around sponsorship for these kind of community events. And it's I think it's a well worth it thing to get behind, and obviously we've had some thrown our support and lobby behind Allison House, etc. So it's good, and it certainly will bring a value to Broken Hill.
Couldn't agree more. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2 is West Darling Arts Memorandum of Understanding. We have a mover for that. Move councillor Turley, seconded. Councillor Boland, councillor Turley.
Sorry, Mr Mayor. Yeah, West Darling Arts is a project, an organisation that council was an initial founder of and supported by the state government. It really brings resources across the region, but you look at the benefits to our community in Broken Hill, an MOU makes sense. It gives out clear KPIs and indicators, and I think, I think this is our second, or it should have been our second. It was discussed before when we had an MOU with the Repertory Society, with Theatre 44. So I'm happy to support this.
Any other speakers? Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Kennedy. And just continue on from councillor Turley's comments. I certainly agree, and it's the first council I was elected to was part of the original MOU, and it's great to see it was successful, and we're back negotiating and moving another MOU, and everything seems to align the value around creating productive culture in the far west and that kind of stuff. So it's a good organisation to be behind, and they certainly promote the arts in the region, and they do a good job, and happy to be behind this, support this MOU again.
All those in favour? Declare it carried unanimously. Item number 3, adoption of the proposal for trial period to exclude the change room from the Norm Fox alcohol prohibited area. Do we have a mover for that?
Move the recommendation.
Move councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Jewett, councillor Allgate.
Well, just to say that I think this is a common sense attitude to something that needs to be done. It's a 6 months trial, so if there's any problems that occur as a result of giving them the trial period to have alcohol drinks after cricket games and so on, so that it adds to the social environment of the game. And during the summer period, it's a welcome end to a nice afternoon of cricket or day of cricket. There are 7 conditions that make sure that the committee has to meet, and they're all encompassing. I'd be surprised if there are any problems. We'll wait and see. We'll make a judgment in 6 months' time or during the course of the event. The general manager has a responsibility to cease the proposal if the requirements are not met. So I think it's just a common sense approach to a problem.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Any other speakers? Councillor Turley.
Probably I have a few questions, but it's kind of, I was reading the report and the police consultation. The police have expressed some concerns around this proposal. So do we provide a space at any of our other facilities where alcohol can be consumed, or are they alcohol free?
What are we talking about? The Alma Oval, Memorial Oval?
Any of the other ovals that are
soccer
sporting
oval.
ovals?
They all have alcohol.
They all have alcohol?
Yeah.
And do they supply the alcohol, or do you purchase the alcohol? Is there someone, I guess the question is, do you need to have someone with?
So all those organisations have a licence which they apply for, which allows them to sell alcohol. The Norm Fox will be also applying for a licence at some stage by all accounts. That'll go through council and also go through the police. They usually they'd ask for a Saturday, Sunday licence, which the police usually grant as part of that licence. The tennis has a similar sort of licence. The soccer has no licence, so you take your own alcohol to the soccer grounds. So it really depends on the sporting facility you're talking about. Some organisations try to make money out of the alcohol, and that's how a lot of our sporting groups make money on the day that they're playing. So it's a mixed event. The police said the police did support the proposal in the correspondence that I read. This was a facility that used to be an alcohol and sold alcohol from the premises for a long time. That was stopped probably about 15 or 20 years ago. It was made a dry zone, not because of the cricket in particular, but because of some of the parties that were going on the Oval itself. People were drinking on the Oval. That cannot happen under this proposal, and any drinking that goes on in the Oval would not be because of this proposal.
So I guess for that, just my concern is that while the other places have responsible service of alcohol people there, for this trial period, council won't have anybody there with a responsible managing any risk around the alcohol use or underage drinkers or any of those things. So we're not concerned about any risk back on council.
Strange this hasn't been brought up about the soccer, councillor Turley.
Oh, I thought you just said that soccer actually had
No,
someone
I said
there.
soccer's one of the, I said that's
Okay.
different. Soccer doesn't have a licence down there, and alcohol is brought in the facility
Yeah.
under your own terms. Most people only allow cans to be brought in so that you don't have glass. So does this apply to the soccer as well? Happy to bring that up with the soccer.
About this, Mr. Mayor. It's my responsibility as a councillor to ask questions.
And
so-
my responsibility
Yeah.
as the mayor is to ask questions back to you to get to the bottom of what you're asking. Does your concern also apply to the soccer?
Well, my concern is around this, it's not a concern, it is questions around, do we have to worry about any risk?
So
I would take it that the general manager has done a risk assessment on the soccer. I'm just asking to make an informed decision, do I have to worry about any risk?
So this is the thing. So did you have a worry about the soccer? That's my question. So that's been going on for many years. My second question is the recommendations here are to approve the period. So you'd assume that council has looked into everything, because there wouldn't be, I'm sure that no management of council would put a recommendation to this council that would put us in legal jeopardy. So my question to you is, does the same concern apply to soccer that you have for what we're talking about here tonight?
If there's a report comes through, I'm happy to discuss that too. But at the moment, I'm here to talk about this report, and I just needed to ask some questions.
And I answered
So,
your question.
thank you.
I said soccer does the same thing, and
Yeah.
does your concern apply to soccer as well?
I'll ask the general manager after about soccer, but I'm just here to vote on this one.
Right.
So thank you.
Do we have any other speakers? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4 is section 355, annual reports and annual financial reports for 2024-25. We have on page 171. I did. Sorry, 171. Annual reports and annual financial reports. I do apologise. Do we have a mover for that?
Move that way.
Move councillor Allgate, seconded councillor Chandler. Councillor Allgate.
It's good to know that the people involved in these 355 committees are able to meet their legislative requirements in terms of financial statements. And we know how hard it is to get the right people to stand for 355 committees or committees of any description. And we've now got them, and they're doing the job that they're supposed to do. So I think we should be happy about it, and we should congratulate them on the fact that their contribution in terms of keeping the committees operating and their financial affairs in check, they're doing a good job.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Any other, councillor Page?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a comment. We are having trouble at the Picton Oval with break-ins and damage. It's been going on for a long period of time, so the police are involved now and hope they can get to the bottom of it, because a lot of volunteers put a lot of hours into it, and the damage that's been done makes it harder on us making progress upgrading the area. So it's very disappointing in regard to those damages.
Yes, just for your information, the police have taken it seriously and have had their forensics teams have a look. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5, nomination appointment of community representatives. Section 355, Memorial Oval Community Committee on page 188.
Move that way.
Moved councillor Boland, seconded councillor Jewett. Councillor Boland?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Always great to see people putting their hand up for the 355 committees and volunteering their time back to the community.
Thank you. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 6 is the minutes of the meeting of the Section 355 Picton Sports Ground Community Committee held on 8th of September 2025 on page 192. Oh, I knew you would, councillor Page. Move, councillor Page, seconded councillor Allgate. Councillor Page, you've already brought that up. Yeah. Look, the Picton Oval is a great committee that works really well, and anything we can do to improve that, to particularly help with sporting events for young people, because it's the oval that is used mainly by children. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 7 is the minutes of the meeting of the Section 355 for Memorial Oval Community Committee held on 1st of September 2025 on page 196. Councillor Boland,
Move that way.
moved, seconded. Councillor Allgate, Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. The committee's finally coming together, which is great. And of course, Councillor Edgecombe will take over from me, so he'll enjoy the committee. It's a good bunch of people with a lot of years volunteering, and there's a lot happening around the Oval, around things like updating locks and putting some real policies in place to ensure that what is ultimately one of our premier ovals in town is used to full use. So I wish Councillor Edgecombe all the best on the committee, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Councillor Allgate? No. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We move to finance and governments. Item number 1, disclosures by councillors and designated person returns on page 205. We have the mover.
Move the recommendation.
Moved councillor Allgate, seconded councillor Gillett. Councillor Allgate.
This is just an annual expectation or responsibility that councillors have, and councillors have fulfilled their obligations. There's nothing much more to say about it.
No, councillor Turley, you'd like to speak to it?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just that we had one person who was non-compliant in completing the forms. That doesn't affect council in any way. Thank you. I was pretty sure on that, but I thought I'd better check.
Thank you, councillor Turley. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2, adoption of the revised councillor support policy on page 208.
Move that way.
Moved councillor Boland, seconded councillor
Seconded.
Allgate. Councillor Boland, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Very sensible policy. It outlines what councillors can and cannot do. It's a big personal cost to travel a lot for work. Trust me, I know it's tough, and these policies are in place to make sure that councillors are left as little out of pocket as possible, and you can have one drink for the evening. And I think this is a smart policy. Everything is set out. It's easy to understand, and it ensures that councillors are following policy, and not just policy, following what is required under the Local Government Act and Local Government General Regulation Act of 2021.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. No, you're right. We have any, councillor Turley?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to sort of feel like we're taking a step back and in a sense of how the Office of Local Government brought out a circular in 2017 and recommending that councils do not pay for alcohol. I think that with our current situation, that the argument that I watched on the committee meeting was around convenience. I absolutely understand that. But I think given that the OLG have recommended that we not use council's money to pay for alcohol, that we use our own remuneration to do that. I feel at this stage, unless the OLG have changed that circular, that I'd have to vote against it. I don't feel like I'm a Grinch. I just think that there's a community expectation at the moment. If we start with one drink, we may end up with more. And I just feel that at this stage, you know, while the OLG have that circular, that I can't support this.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Just a question, as councillor Edgecombe?
Oh, no, if you have a question for councillor Turley, you can go first if you'd like. Or would you like me to speak?
No, you speak.
You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to reiterate what I said at the Finance and Governance Standing Committee meeting the other night, that I fundamentally do not believe that councillors should be paying for councillors to have free alcohol at conferences. Yeah, I'm just reiterating my comments from the other night, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, just a question to councillor Turley, who was the president of LG New South Wales for a long time. What percentage of councils actually have allowed drinking, not just one drink, but drinking in general as an expense?
Yeah, it's
Councillor
very,
Turley?
very few, and a lot of councillors that have had, I think one recently introduced it, and there was great debate around that. Others have tightened their policy. I can't tell you off the top of my head how many, but I would say probably 70 or 80%. But I'll take that on notice. Cessnock recently, I think, brought down tidied up their policy because of things that might have or may not have happened. I don't know, but you know, it's a bit like why we, yeah. So I would say that, but I'll find out. Take that on notice
Thank you.
and
councillor.
try and get the data for you.
Thank you, councillor Turley. Councillor Edgecombe, you just said free alcohol.
Free for the councillor. So it would be at a cost of the council to pay for the free drink for the councillor. I mean, if it comes into this, it'd be a part of entitlement if it came into this, but
So
yeah.
I understand councillor Turley's argument, because councillor Turley's argument is there's an expectation that council does not pay for alcohol by the community, but your argument is the free alcohol and the cost to the community.
Well, yes, I don't believe that the community should have the cost of paying for councillors to have alcohol. I believe if councillors choose to have alcohol at conferences, that's fine, but it should be paid for by the councillor. That's my argument. Yeah.
And so in the policy, it allows for unlimited drink as long as it's not alcohol based, whether that be alcohol-free wine or alcohol-free beer or whatever. So a councillor, you've got no problem with councillors having 20 or 30 drinks that could cost any amount of money. So your thing is the free alcohol, not the alcohol itself.
No, it's also the alcohol. So I concur with councillor Turley's discussion around this. As I discussed the other night, my discussion at the Finance and Governance Committee, which all councillors can go back and watch if they would like. That's the comments I have on that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So I'll just briefly say, look, under this policy, and the reason this policy was brought in, as councillor Turley said, was one of convenience. And what usually happens as I don't go away much at all. I don't go overseas. I don't, you know, I represent the city. I very rarely go away. So it doesn't apply to me, but I do understand the importance of convenience when councillors go away representing a community. For example, if there's 4 or 5 different councils with 4 or 5 different people from each councillor there, and they're getting their meal as they go around and ask, would you like a piece of fish or a rump steak, and each picks their own. And as they pick the drinks that are there, which would normally the whole bill for our council, for example, be picked up by one of the councillors. The problem with this is we're going to the councillors, and the reason it was brought in because councillors had to separate bills when getting the original drink. And a lot of people do have a glass of wine with their meal. I think it is being a Grinch, and I have no doubt saying I think it's been a Grinch, and it's political grandstanding without a doubt. I have no problem paying for any amount of drinks. I have no problem. For example, we had a civic ball the other day, and I bought, or my wife and I bought each of the debutantes earrings and other gifts. So as a councillor, we often are out of pocket, and I have no doubt that this is an issue that is trying to be political grandstanding, and the councillors that are speaking against it are Grinches. Do we have any other speakers?
Yeah, I'd speak against it.
Councillor Allgate, you're
yeah,
speaking for it or for the
No.
motion?
I'm speaking for the motion,
Yeah.
yes. The thing is, we just agreed to grant the isolated children's parents group $1,000. It's not in the budget, and yet we're arguing the point here about somebody spending $10 on one drink. And
But
yet-
they can
and yet-
also get 4 or 5 drinks at cost if it's got no alcohol.
I was going to say, but there's no limit on how many they can charge up to the council if they're non-alcoholic drinks. The whole thing is just ridiculous, and it breaches the standard or the level of a real wowser, as far as I'm concerned. It's okay, I understand if people don't drink alcohol, that's their business, but to try and argue the case that a councillor shouldn't have one alcoholic drink on the community is just petty.
And I'd
Petty.
make a point of not buying any alcohol on council's credit card, by the way. There's no way you'll see that I would, and I'm sure many other councillors would do the same just to prove a point that this is a political point. Councillor Boland?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I don't think the policy can get any more tighter and well explained than one alcoholic beverage per council when consumed with an evening meal. It's got to be consumed with an evening meal. It's one beverage. Quite frankly, everyone on this council is an adult, and if one drink is going to get problems, you probably need, well, if you don't drink, you don't drink, that's fine. But it's one drink, one alcoholic beverage per councillor when consumed with an evening meal. That policy is well written. It complies with the law. And I can't see a problem with it. It doesn't say go and get absolutely blottoed on the council's clip. It says one alcoholic beverage with an evening meal, not finish your meetings and then go to the bar and drink until midnight. It says one alcoholic beverage per councillor consumed with a meal.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Councillor Edgecombe?
Can I ask one very specific question? And
can
apologies if
indeed.
it slightly goes off topic, but I believe there is some substance to it. When council staff go on conferences, does council provide them with any alcohol, not non-alcoholic, nothing to do with meals? Do council provide council staff with alcohol at conferences when they're representing the city?
So I'll just ask a counter question before that's answered. Do council staff go away representing the community?
Oh, that's also part of my question.
They go away to represent the council structure,
Yep,
not the
absolutely.
community. Councillors go away representing the
Yeah, that's
community
why I
with
said it's
other
slightly off
councillors.
topic, but
So
I'm
it's
curious.
completely off
Oh,
topic.
sorry, yeah, sorry about that, Mr. Mayor, but can I have an answer? I'm just curious. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. No, council staff, this policy is similar to councillors. It's within the ATO allowance, but no, alcohol is included with that. The difference from our perspective, from the risk perspective, is that, council has a duty of care to council staff the entire time they're on council travel, whereas councillors have a responsibility for their own duty of care. And therefore we don't implicit any alcohol within the travel policy on that basis of a duty of care. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General
Thank you,
Manager.
Mr. General Manager, through you, Mr. Mayor. That's all. I was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour? Councillor Page, Councillor Boland, Councillor Allgate, Councillor Jewett, Councillor Chandler, Councillor Gillett and myself against, Councillor Turley and Councillor Edgecombe. Item number 3, investment. Just on that, so no councillor has an obligation to buy a drink with their meal or get a free drink with their meal. And in fact, all councillors can pay for everything by their away to the councillors that voted against it.
Not everything. Obviously, they're entitled to meals.
Excuse
if
me,
it's a-
excuse me.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Item number 3, investment report for September.
Move that way.
Move councillor Boland, seconded
Seconded.
councillor Allgate. Councillor Boland,
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. All out there, well written, well balanced report. The inflation numbers come out today, so if you're hoping for an interest rate decrease, you're probably not going to get it. But it is good news for the low risk cash accounts that are under quite reasonable interest.
page 228, sorry. For the member in the public. Any other speakers? Look, we've done a fantastic job as a council and as a whole on keeping our investments, making money. We've done better than the vast majority of councils, and I thank all involved. All those in favour, carried unanimously. We go to further reports. Item number 1, Local Government Remuneration Tribunal review for 2026 annual determination on page 245. Do we have a mover for that?
Move the
Moved
recommendation.
councillor Allgate, seconded councillor Jewett. Councillor Allgate?
I think the report is well written and it covers all the aspects. I've always been a firm believer that the council shouldn't vote on its own salaries or allowances or whatever you want to call them. I think the suggestion that the tribunal set the fees, the high and the low fees, and that's it. That they be implemented by each council, either accepted by each council or not. And the councillors are really left out of it. We don't have to vote ourselves small increases, big increases, or what, or not at all.
Thank you.
Good report.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Councillor
Sorry,
Turley?
I was just going to say that I support Councillor Allgate in this report. Something that we continue to lobby for. I've never seen any other organisation that sets their own wage or income. So, you know, we need to continue to lobby and maybe ask the councils in the Western Division to do the same, because although, you know, there's always that argument, but our rural councils are greatly underpaid.
Thank you. All that, councillor Page?
Yes, while we're talking on this issue, I've said this a million times over, to encourage the younger generation to join council. If they have a family and they have to go away and represent the council for a week at a time, there's no daily allowance, which I find a height of rudeness and I've got a few words I'll keep to myself, but it's, you know, for the younger generation to come and sit on this council, they delegate a lot of their time, a lot of their effort, and if they go away to conferences, why should their family suffer financially? And I've said this 1,000 times. It's all right for the state government. We're only an arm of the state government. The way they treat local government, they've taken most of the local out of local government, and they've made it that financially hard for younger people to join council. It's time the minister, the premier, looked at the issues, but they don't. They just want to override local government and work us into the ground and want all these fantastic outcomes. If you look at the local government, it's a bloody disgrace. The conditions they put on us financially, you go through and have a look at the money we should have in reserves to replace the infrastructure. It's the height of silliness. No council can, outback councils can have that financial situation in their accounts to cover the conditions the state government put on us. There's a lot more I could say, I won't, but but I won't be standing in the next council. I want to see younger faces around this chamber. We've got older people. Be careful the way I phrase it. But we've got a lot of knowledge sitting around this chamber, and we want some younger faces here. And you can't, I've spoken to the younger people, come along and join council, and they say, I'd rather have a tooth pulled out or whatever. It's what the state government are doing, they're making sure you don't get younger faces on council or shires. They'll keep treating us, as long as we sit by and let them do it. We've got to stand up to them. Just nodding your head to them and say everything's okay. It's not okay. Anyway, I've had my say. I could talk a bit longer, but I better not.
You do have 5 minutes to talk. You have a couple of minutes left there. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2, correspondence report, inquiry into the electricity outages affecting Far West New South Wales. On page 264, do we have a mover for that?
Move that way.
Moved councillor Boland, seconded
Seconded.
councillor Allgate. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. The only reference or the only point I've got is on the Honourable Penny Sharp MLC, that she agrees the scale of the disruptions across the Far West were significant and should never happen again. So hopefully this goes a long way and the state government listens to their own advice, and the Transgrid and the other agencies involved are held responsible for this. And as Minister Sharp says, it never happens again.
Thank you.
Can I ask,
Councillor Allgate.
can I ask a question, Mr. Mayor? Are the 2 backup generators now functioning?
Well on the way.
So
Well on the way.
Still not.
But they have been upgraded, so it shouldn't happen
Right.
regardless. The one generator that is working has been significantly upgraded, and the redundant generators for power are still there. So they've still got those generators that brought to the city,
Right.
and well on the way of getting that second generator.
Can the battery system be switched on in an emergency like it wasn't last time?
It's being used now, yeah.
Right. Thank you.
But keep in mind, that's only a 1 hour storage and it takes several days to charge it. If you use the whole capacity across the city. Yeah. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3, subsidies for touring exhibitions and funding for the Broken Hill City Art Gallery. Mover for that. Move councillor Gillett, seconded councillor Allgate. Councillor Gillett. That's on page 267. No, I'm just for the crowd.
To ask was about this funding. It says here that it closed in the 7th of October, so were we able to apply for it or not?
Look, the funding probably doesn't really go to covering, so ours was more asking about funding that we lost, which supplied programs to the city. This is more about bringing other exhibitions through another funding stream. So it doesn't really answer the question that we're asking.
No,
So
but they're saying we should be applying for this, but then the date was already passed.
yeah. Yeah, through to the general manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, it wasn't no application particular for this one, and it's relating to the touring of the artworks and capturing tours to come to Broken Hill. So our main concern at the moment is obviously without the funding that we used to get, it's just about maintaining operations as best we can. So we're in the process at the moment with the manager of galleries and museums around looking at what the next 6 months from January to June looks like, and then for the 26-27 councillors' decision on the budget, as there'll have to be a reduction in a lot of those public programs as well as touring exhibitions to Broken Hill, just to focus on our own collection without that additional operational funds. We haven't lobbed anything else onto us at the moment because it'll just increase that drain on the resources that we need operationally. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. Any other speakers? Councillor Holgate?
I just comment that it, once again, it reminds us of how much we rely on grant funding. Grant funding is our livelihood.
Sometimes that grant funding that we apply for actually costs the city a lot more than what it actually has a drain on. So some of that grant funding that we get, and I'm not saying this one in particular, but some of those grant funding actually add to operational costs because the grant doesn't fully cover the costs of what is required. So when we do go for those grants, we need to keep in mind sometimes grants, they're great to get, but they're not always cost neutral. Sometimes grants affect the bottom line rather than improve the bottom line.
That in advance, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, for sure. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4 is the draft social media strategy and draft communication engagement strategy for public exhibition on page
Move
271.
that way.
Moved Councillor Boland, seconded Councillor Jewett. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. An important policy, especially in this day and age, where a lot of communications happen over social media. We've lost a lot of our traditional regional media. We've got the paper going again, but we've lost our nightly TV, etc. So it's actually an important policy outlining communication strategies around social media and other media, and obviously it hasn't emerged recently, but the focus on cyberbullying, etc. It's important that we look after the staff that are engaged in social media and engage with that communications across the community, and it's also important that we maintain our traditional avenues and media and engagement. Also note that the strategy also includes engagement strategies in reaching minorities and people with disabilities and youth as well.
Thank you. Other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5 is the action list on page 314. Do we have a mover for that? Moved Councillor Gillett, seconded Councillor Jewett. Councillor Gillett.
I was going through some of these here, and I really don't think the average person outside of this chamber actually understands how much work the executive put in on some of these items. The first item here started in July 2020 and is still going on today with no resolution in sight. People say that we're not doing enough, but they don't understand what's behind it.
Yeah, and I'll just clarify that that item, which is 2020, it is not council that's holding it up. It is the respondees from the numerous correspondence that's been sent from council to those trying to close those items off. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Question number 16, questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. There was nil. questions for the next meeting arising from items on the agenda. Any questions from any councillors? No? All those in favour? Oh, no, there's no need to do that. The second public forum session of 15 minutes will consider submissions from the public regarding matters that were considered by council at this meeting only. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes each to address council. We only have one member of the public, and are you interested? We have one member of the public who just if you could say your name for the tape, Ros.
Ros O'Connor, just would like an update on the library, please. Where are we up to? You know, I take photos every second week and how are we going? Looks terrific. General Manager?
It's getting much closer, and I'll hand over to the general manager to give you a more specific update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, getting closer. We're still expecting completion by the end of this year. But obviously that timeline's getting closer and closer as we go along with a few of those delays that we encountered during July and August in particular with the weather. So still aiming for practical completion by the end of December. And it's just a matter of making sure that we can align our resources moving in there around our contractors nearing the end of it for that completion of the final move in to be there. But we'll announce an opening date in the coming weeks, if not probably another month. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Good,
Thank you,
thanks.
General Manager. Exciting news, and you'll be able to put your historic library.
Yes,
report
remember
up.
I've done a history of the
Yeah,
library and
yeah.
I'll bring that out when it comes. But did you know that when it first started, of course, only men were allowed in the library?
No, I didn't.
Back in those days, yeah.
No, I didn't know
In the
that.
back of the town hall, only men, and they could only look at reference books. But when the council took over, they would allow us women to go along at half price because you had to pay a subscription to go to the library. So the men had full and the women had half cost, and no kids, of course, were allowed at all in that. So things have progressed since then.
And
Thanks
it's much
very
better. Our library's much more fun with little kids running around. We go to confidential matters. We only have three items on confidential. We move a motion to go into closed session. Move Councillor Turley, seconded Councillor Gillett. All those in favour, declare it carried unanimously. Thank you. The General Manager to report on council's resolutions made in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council resolved item one, Broken Hill City Council Report number 195/25. Tender upgrade to airside pavement movement areas at Broken Hill Airport. Council resolved one, that Broken Hill City Council Report number 195/25 dated October 10, 2025 be received. Two, that council notes that the final design documents for tender T25/1 upgrade to airside pavement movement areas at Broken Hill Airport indicated that the additional concreting works is required as noted in council report number 170/25 considered at the 27th of August 2025 council meeting, minute number 47968. Three, that council endorses the action of the general manager to hold further negotiations with the successful contractor BMD Constructions Proprietary Limited in awarding of the tender as per minute number 47968 of report number 170/25 to include the additional concreting works and changes to the staging of works at a project increase of 6.3% to a total project cost of $13,187,480.53 excluding GST, and thus allowing no further price increases or further delays in the commencement of the project. Item two, Council Report number 5/25, T2517, request for tender Alma Oval Change Room redevelopment 2025. Council resolved one, the Broken Hill City Council Tender Report number 5/25 dated October 4th, 2025 be received. Two, that Broken Hill City Council note that a funding variation request has been submitted to the Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development to support project delivery. Three, that Broken Hill City Council award tender T25/17 to the Cabin Group Proprietary Limited for the construction of the Alma Oval Change Room redevelopment for the total price of $1,084,989.40, excluding GST, comprising the Cabin Group Proprietary Limited submission of $986,354 and a 10% contingency of $98,635.40, subject to the funding variation being approved. Four, that council approve a budget variation of $180,656.40 excluding GST to enable delivery of the project subject to the funding variation being approved. Five, that the general manager and/or mayor be authorised to sign the tender contract and fix the seal of council if required. And six, that council thank all the stakeholders involved with the Norfolk Oval and Alma Oval Change Room redevelopment for their patience in the project, as well as the funding body in allowing these variations. Item three, tender report number 6/25, T24/10, request for tender for skate rink roof replacement. Council resolved one, the Broken Hill City Council tender report number 6/25 dated October 3, 2025 be received. Two, that Broken Hill City Council award tender T24/10, request for tender for skate rink roof replacement to Robinson Plumbing for the purchase of skate rink roof replacement for the total price of $221,872.20, including GST. Three, that the general manager and/or mayor be authorised to sign the tender contract and affix the seal of council if required. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. Thank you everyone for attending tonight. As there is no further business for council